All right, good morning, everybody. Spec Ops Monkey here. Get my monster out of the picture there and push my light over a little bit. I tighten my setup here. Yeah, it's about 9:42 a.m. Central Standard Time here, coming to you from the great state of Texas. It is 3:30, so we're just about out of March Madness. But welcome, everyone. We're going to just go kick the tires and take a look around, see what's happening with our radar, and basically just look at our prison location, see if we've got any kind of activity that's gonna catch our attention. So as we kick it off, we've got looks like one of the presidential fleet birds that is currently up. Now that is not Flashbang, nor is it Bob Marley. They are both in office, and I'll show you that in just a second. But this is they're just doing some touch and goes, it looks like, in Richmond, Virginia area. So, but that is certainly one of the birds. That's 090017. All right, and so let's back up just a little bit, and I'll close out of that, and we'll just take a look at the sky. It's kind of busy this morning for a Tuesday. Whoa, my mouse has got a mind of its own here. It looks like we got a U-2 that is up, coming out of Beale Air Force Base. Now that is their normal location. It looks like that guy is just breaking ground and doing a climb out. And so his altitude is already, he's at 45,000 feet and kind of leveling off right now. So that thing's a skyrocket. I'm telling you, that dude right there is basically strapped to an engine, and there's not much else to it but wing, and that's, I mean, it's wing and engine, that's it. So all right, and so let's just kind of work our way left to right here this morning. So it looks like we got some helo activity up along the borderline, and a little -6 now here in Texas. Looks like, because it is a pretty nice day out here, it's we got a lot of trainers up. So this is all trainer activity here, and as we kind of zoom in, you guys can see a bunch of trainers all along, everywhere from North Texas up into Oklahoma. So these are air refuelers, and a little C-130. Looks like that bad dude's rolling out of Arkansas. A couple more tankers, a lot of tanker activity up. And over Mississippi into Alabama, it is just a sea of trainers, like all trainers. So, and Panhandle, as usual, all trainers. Those things are, I mean, check that out. That's like, that's a lot of trainers. So these pilots eventually will end up getting some seat time, but they have to go through quite a bit of training before they actually get behind, and you know, the real thing. So some of them will go into the larger, the heavies, just depending on what their MOS is, and then some of them will be fighter, and so just depends really. And over South Florida, I'm not seeing anything along the coastline. There's a P8 here that looked like it's coming down from Pax River, that general area. Another P8 right here that's just took off out of Jacksonville. And so we got two P8s up, but I'm not seeing any surveillance over the water. Got a couple fighters out. Look like that one just rolled out of, there's one of our FFABs, as we were talking about the other day in our Q&A, and another one right here. So those are two FFABs, and those are coming out of Jacksonville Naval Air Station. Okay, little Reach aircraft. Looks like it's coming out of Charleston, headed south. Now that one's on track. Currently, looks like it's headed towards the Guantanamo Bay area. So don't see too many C-130s rolling into Guantanamo Bay, but at least, you know, not on our regular docket. So, okay, so that said, let's look kind of into, let me kind of zoom in a little bit up here. Now we've got a lot of helo activity up here from an H-60 perspective. These are H-47s. Those are going to be your Chinooks, so your banana copters, as I used to call them, and little EC-45. And so it looks like we got a handful of helo activity going on. I'll kind of back out. Now I did notice last night we had quite a bit of helo activity. Actually, it looked like we were sitting at about 26 H-60s up at one point. And let me see here. Let me just filter and see where we are this morning. So it's still been getting a lot of heavy H-60 activity. Let me clear that out so I can get a little more space on my board. A lot of activity up here on the eastern seaboard of H60s. Now, last night we had them just south of Denver, and then also in the Seattle Tacoma area was heavy duty helo activity. So I don't know if somebody was lost up there or what was going on, but that's your H60 activity for this morning. So all right, we'll continue to watch that. Now let's get over to Flashbang Schedule so you guys can see what's going on there. So right now for Tuesday morning, as we're closing out the month, looks like, again, he is Flashbang Bob Marley. The two of them are inseparable right now. So seems to be a lot of hand-holding going on. If you guys have noticed, it is exactly as we expected. There's a ton of gun legislation going through right now. They are coming for our guns. 100%. And immigration, just opening up the borders, just letting people flow in. And I'm going to show you here in a minute. It looks like we got a lot of flights where they're pushing probably immigrants throughout the country, kind of pre-positioning them, getting them off the borderline. So, but looks like he's not flying anywhere today. It looks like he signed some more money, just spending like nobody's business. We continue to do that. It's sooner or later that's all going to come to a head because you just can only print so much, and there's nothing to back it. And that's happening actually on a global scale. So every country out there, with the exception of one or two, are actually on the verge of a collapse. All it's going to take is one giant calamity, and it's going to send this whole thing into motion. Okay. So, but this is where we are right now, and he doesn't have any travel today. Now, I will tell you for tomorrow, I think he is Flashbang is headed to Ohio. So let's pop up the TFRs real fast so I can show you what's going on here. Now, as you see, we're going to go right to left today. That is our Brown Zone Senior Living Center permanent. That is Pittsburgh, Ohio, Pittsburgh, Ohio. I was making up cities. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and I was looking at Ohio, but that is going to be, I'm pretty sure Flashbang is headed there tomorrow. If not, it will be Bob Marley, but I haven't seen anything on the schedule yet, but I think it's Flashbang, and so that is a VIP TFR. This one up here, there's a little tiny one in Boston still that's a hazards, and I don't know why that is continuing on, unless it's a crime scene or something, but I don't know. I really don't know why it's still there. But this one is a George Floyd trial, so that's going to be a security TFR over the city there, Minneapolis. This one out here, Rapid City, let me just pull that up real fast and see what we've got. That's a hazards, and let's see. I don't see any date on that timestamp on there, so... but it looks like it is, just double check here, fire. Okay, so it looks like we've got a fire outside of Rapid City is what that is. That's so. All right, let me back up just a tad. Now in Kansas, we've got a couple. These are both hazards, and I looked at them previously. One of them is going to be a pipeline hazard, and the other is just I don't know, it's a general emergency hazard. There's something going on up there in the Topeka area. And so, but I'm going to show you something, and I think it may be related, okay, when we start looking at some of these flights, because I think they're certainly related here. Now, if you guys have seen, these little ones are little security. There's one over Dallas right here, downtown Dallas, and we've got them out here just south of Midland, Odessa, and then down here in southern Texas. Now, those are immigration processing centers, I think, or they're FEMA camps, so to speak, where they're actually holding people that are coming across the border, right? And so, but they don't want you getting shots of these areas, and so you can't go flying in drones and getting pictures, or they don't want, you know, news getting pictures of these places. And it's probably because Ted Cruz just posted the other day some of the conditions, and it's pretty horrific. So that's probably why they're actually preventing senators from coming down here and looking at these spots right now, because they're pretty awful. Okay, this is our normal TFR along the border, and then I'm going to show you something here around Del Rio with Texas DPS and some of their activity going on as well. All right, again, these have all gone red. They were yellow for some reason. They're red right now, but these are border TFRs, Disney West. And then that's Beale Air Force Base where we just saw the U-2 take off. Okay. So that's going to be our active TFR. So the only one that I see new that's kind of significance is going to be this VIP one right here, and that's going to be Flashbang. Okay. All right, let's head over to the spa, aka Guantanamo Bay. All right, so it looks to me like our new rhythm, instead of Norfolk, Virginia, is now we've got them coming out of Charleston, which seems to be a new supply chain hub. And so I'm watching the board for Norfolk, but I'm not seeing them. And so what I am seeing are Charleston. And so it looks like they did a swap. Now this one right here is, that's Phoenix Air. All right. And that one came in last week. We were looking at that before, but for those in 540 PA, that's a new one we're going to start to kind of track. I'll pop on it just so we can see. But that was, when it came in from Cartersville, Georgia to Guantanamo Bay. And if you remember, we were laughing about this picture here that they posted of an old Pan Am 747, little stumpy thing. All right. That's not the aircraft, but that's what they post. Okay. But since then, that thing has gone up to Andrews, and then it went back from Andrews to Cartersville, Georgia. So it was basically just a quick pull the trigger medevac, and it looks like they took somebody up to the brown zone. Okay. So there is that, and we will kind of back out. Let me head over here to XPL Honduras. Now this one's an interesting, as we start to look at it, they are so this is Honduras. This is an alternate to Guantanamo Bay, and these are reach flights. Now again, here's Charleston, so it looks like they're kind of maintaining the same rhythm in terms of supply runs between Guantanamo Bay and Charleston. And then of course we've got this one, which was interesting. It's also a reach aircraft, but I've never seen them come out of Mexico to Honduras. So that's kind of a new leg right there. Okay. So not really sure what they picked up in Mexico and brought to Honduras, but that's where it went. So, and before that, this aircraft was down in Guatemala and Nicaragua, and then it went into, I guess, near Juarez. Mexico City is what the Juarez International, sorry, Mexico City, and then into XPL. And then it's bounced all around. It's been down to, since then, that was on the 24th. Now, since then, on the 25th, it was in Costa Rica and then Bogota, Colombia. All right, so that will be reach. All right, now this is going to be taking a look at, this was, if I'm not mistaken, let me back up one just to make sure. No, that's what I thought it was. Okay. All right, this is going to be your IBC Airways. This is actually N312FU, and it's showing as a different, it's just showing as IBC Airways 312, just so note that. Okay, they're kind of changing. Every once in a while, they'll change things up to kind of throw us off. So, but that is the tail numbers you guys see down here in the corners. I pulled up. That's the Maxwell bird. Okay. But this one since Sunday, last time we spoke here on Patreon. And so this is, looked like it came out of Maryland, which is almost in the brown zone. And it went down to the Nassau, Bahamas. And then from Nassau to Lauderdale, which is its home base. Then it went out to the Turks and Caicos from Lauderdale, which is, again, these are areas we've been watching, so I don't know what they've got going on, but we may be seeing a shakedown occur. And now from the Turks and Caicos, it went over to White Plains, New York. Now that, I will tell you, that's about 15, 18 minutes away from where HRC lives, but there's not a connection. Last time I flagged that location of White Plains, I had a CEO of a company contact me and let me know that they were using that aircraft. And so, and he was legit. And so he also let me know about, the fact that they are doing contractor work at the spa and things like that. So really cool dude. But it was just kind of a reach out just to kind of keep me, from heading off in the wrong direction. So, and I really appreciate that. That was a very nice gesture for him to do. He didn't have to do that. So, And then, of course, this looks like it's gone to Long Island from there, Long Island down to Houston Hobby. So keep in mind, when you get into Houston, that's a lot of oil folks, and so they will use these planes from time to time as well, okay? So that could really be executives using that. All right, let's go look at our Phoenix birds. And so this is N163PA. This is one that we watch pretty regularly because it's popped in and out of the spa as well. And we're going to add 540PA to our tracker, even though it doesn't look like it's being used very often. But I think that is a medical bird, like specific medical bird. Okay. But this one landed 5 hours ago, and it just rolled out of Miami back to home base. All right. So that's RTB, return to base. Okay. So. But prior to that, let's just take a quick look from Sunday, last time we got together. So this thing went to Peru, from Cartersville down to Peru, which is interesting. And from Peru to Miami, then Miami back to Cartersville. All right, so that's N163PA. And it's amazing how far these birds go and just the activity that they're up to, knowing that our agencies are using them. And so now this one is currently... wheels up. It just took off out of Greece. Okay. And let's see, prior to that, we had it landing. It was in Frankfurt, Germany on the 25th. And so we caught that one. All right. So it looks like it's back on the move now. So we'll see in our next sit rep where this thing took off and went to. Okay. Looks like currently it's headed eastbound. And all right. And so let's take a look. There is our bird we just looked at. And over here, I don't know where that one's heading, but we'll watch that one because that's interesting. And then this one right here is our other one, and that's our little Embry Air 120 that we've been watching hop in and out of the islands. And so that one, yeah, San Nicolas Island over to Ventura County. Now that's the same set of birds. There's several of them actually that are headed over to China Lake as well. So they'll actually go from here to here and then off over into China Lake, okay? And so that's all contractor work. These are probably engineers being flown to and from. All right, okay. Now over to N331CK, which is Kalita Charters. And that one, this is kind of the interesting thing. Now remember I was talking about we had a lot of some new hazards TFR that were in the, in that general area, Kansas City. And so this has been kind of an interesting thing. So since Sunday, this thing, it re-entered service. So it went up to Oscoda, Michigan, looked like it did a quick, probably a B check or something maintenance wise, or, just performed some kind of maintenance. It was down for a couple of days and it re-entered service. About 3 days it was down right here, Oscoda. But then we saw it, it went from Willow Run, which is Detroit. So it re-entered service and went down to Kansas City, Missouri. It went down to Laredo, Texas. Okay. Now my thought is they are probably transporting people, I would imagine, taking them to all these locations because that's what we do best, right? We bring all these people from the border and we dispatch them into all these various cities and kind of water them down and put them into either holding locations, immigration locations, temporary, or if they're kids, we find foster homes for them and pay major bucks. And so that's a racket in and of itself. But this thing started bouncing around from there to Toledo, Ohio, back over to Willow Run and back down to Laredo. You could see into Chicago, Kansas City, and we start getting into that whole general central U.S. area that we were talking about earlier. And so I think they're moving immigrants around on that aircraft is what I think they're doing. So that's just my opinion, but just given what we're seeing down there now. These are all of the live Kalita Charters that are down there. So this one is Kentucky, again, down to Palm Beach. And then this one is Iowa into Kansas City. All right. And these are 737-400s and a 727-200. And so kind of an old platform, but that's what we have. And this one is not even, let's see here. en route. That's going down to, so this is the one that took the place of 331CK. And it's taken off out of Miami and it's headed into the Dominican Republic. Now that was a regular tempo. We had these flying for a while between there and Haiti. And so it looks like that is, that's the bird that picked up that sequence, okay? And again, they all look the same, all right? They've got that same paint job that's kind of stands out. So, all right, now over to our, this is Jenna 622. And that one looks like he is actually en route, just took off from Palm Springs, California. He's probably headed back to the brown zone because he went from what I can tell, looked like he went from brown zone here down to Pittsburgh, PA, which notice that's on our TFR coming up tomorrow. So greasing the skids for something. All right. So now, and oh, so by the way, this is our Bill Bar replacement. So that's your AG. Okay. And then it looks like he went from Pittsburgh to Palm Springs, and then Palm Springs now probably back, if I had to guess, to the brown zone. Okay. So he's on the move, and that is him. Now, we do have our sniffer helo is up. Actually, looked like it left the brown zone, and it is now headed kind of southwest. And if we look at this, so it's right here's the brown zone rolled out. It's going to Louisa, Virginia, and it is now rolling out of Louisa, and it's headed somewhere. So we'll keep an eye on it to see where it goes. And on our next SITREP, we'll pop on and see where they seem to feel like they need to be doing some nuke sniffing, which is interesting. So, okay. Now, there's one more bird. This is the one I was talking about, the Del Rio. Now, this is going to be a Texas DPS, and this is happening right now. It's en route. And this guy, now, here's why I'm pointing this one out, because it's kind of an interesting one to watch. This, I actually stumbled upon it yesterday because I was trying to do a little bit of research on. This is Laughlin, Laughlin Air Force Base. I think I said that right. Little tiny military stuff out here. I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, there's some they all kind of share this. It's a general airport, but the Air Force uses it too. Okay, but there is a ranch that the Chinese bought that is right next to that, and it is a large ranch, and they're putting wind farms on it or something. Supposedly energy. Can't believe we allowed them to do that, but I want to say it was like 250,000 acres or something crazy. But this DPS is flying over that area regularly. And so as I've been kind of going back and looking at some of the flights, this is the one that's en route now. This is your Texas border, okay? And this is your helo that's up doing these checks. You can see, I mean, he's tight on here. And so... but that is is just kind of an interesting thing. But as you go back and I start looking at all this dude is pretty regular in that general area. Okay, so I don't know if they've got eyes on that 250,000 acres that they bought. I'm sure they do, right? And so, but there are, you know, I know there's SAR teams out there, Air Force SAR teams and things like that. So, you know, pararescue and those guys are out here. There's quite a few special operations that run out of that little base. And so to have the Chinese with a presence right there it's kind of interesting to say the least. Probably not good, especially being right on the border. Okay. So, hey, all right, let's do this real fast. I want to pop over to the marine side. I'm just going to take a quick look at two locations. One, we're going to look at the Suez Canal, and it looks like our Ever Given boat has finally broken loose. That took place, I think, the other day, and then they've got it actually sitting right now. It's stopped right here in the middle of all this, and I apologize for all the ads. It's just this thing is definitely in the way. Now, one thing I do want to point out is the fact that this is a Taiwan-owned company, okay? And many of these ships in here are Chinese, okay? Chinese cargo ships. And so remember, right now, the Chinese are giving some pretty heavy-duty movements towards Taiwan. And there's speculation that within weeks they're probably going to make a move on Taiwan because the U.S. isn't going to stop them, and so that is very, very likely. Okay, and so as that starts to take place, you can see things are starting to flow through here now. And but when the Taiwan boat blocked that was punching China right in the wallet. Okay, so those are the kind of things where you kind of go, was that on purpose? Because that, there's a lot of oil tankers in here, but there are also a lot of cargo ships in there. And so if we go over here to our filters, see if I can filter the vessels, drop this down. Let's take away the oil tankers, which are all the red stuff, and we'll just go straight up. All these greens, that's all cargo. All right. And if you look at some of the names, Shandong Dihong, man, that's definitely Chinese, all these are Chinese cargo ships. And so when that bad dude blocked it, he pretty much, they probably felt that because they're sitting on all of that inventory, trying to get it through that area. So just remember, there's definitely a different game in town. And so Taiwan, probably not a smart move because they're a little tiny pebble compared to the size of China. And like I said, there's a lot of activity going on over there. As we get back to this, I'll show you. Now, last night, Japan was popping, and I was looking closely at it, and it looked like it was mainly fighters and cargo jets, but a couple tankers were up. But it was definitely going on. I had a lot of activity. So, all right, I'm going to kind of zoom over here to the Middle East and to Europe real fast so we can get a closer look. And so let's see here. What do we have here? That's Germany. That is a U.S. Man, it looks like, I think, Sarah, you were actually asking in the chat the other day on one of our Q&As, you were asking about this MC. It looks like they changed the call sign because I just saw that blink. That's the Navy, and the Navy was calling them CV something. It looks like they went to MC as their new call sign, but that right there is actually, I think, landing close to or taking off. I'm not getting any other information out of that one right now, but it's it looks like it was come out of Terceira Island, which is right out here. Okay, C-17 looks like that one is just rolling out of down in Spain, and that's our German bird. Okay. So I think the call signs have gone from the normal Navy sign to now this new MC. Seems to be like they've made a change. So, okay. All right. So it looks like we've got another Reach that is rolling out of Luxembourg area. And the UK's got a ton of trainer activity going on right now. This is all trainer birds. There's a couple Ospreys V22. Another V22 in here. Those are all US V22s. And for those not familiar with it, that's kind of a platform. It's kind of a hybrid between a Hilo and a C-130, but it's a pretty cool little bird. It actually didn't have a great performance when it first started out. It was crashing a lot, but they've since kind of worked out the kinks, and it's pretty cool. Actually, really cool. And I've seen images where they use these as like a Marine One type of thing. So, okay, and a couple Eurofighters up, and then that's going to be probably an air. Yeah, it's a UK air refueler. You can see he's actually running tracks. This is an air refueling box, this blue box right here, and so it looks like he's just running in and out of there. So there's fighters up over here too. Okay, and we're going to now kind of head over Europe. Now this, I don't know if this was the box that you guys were talking about the other day, but that's another ground test. That's all that is. And so that little gray box, and that looks like it's just every once in a while it'll actually fire up, and it does some wild zigzag stuff back and forth, very fast speed, very high altitude, and it'll kind of throw people a little bit. And this is also a ground test, and it does the same thing. And so they basically can take a box sitting on a bench and just crank it up to give it the look like it is an aircraft in sky, and it'll do a bunch of crazy stuff. But the squawk codes on it and everything else let other airplanes know it's not really an airplane. So, that's a little gunship, H-64 Apache. And what do we have here? A little EC-45 and an EC-45. So, and German military. All right, little helos, Eurocopters. Okay, let's head over here to, let me back up just a tad. We'll get into the Middle East. And not seeing too much going on over here. We've still got our air refuelers that over Kuwait. So we seem to be doing a lot of activity, fighter activity in this general area. And I don't know if we're taking out targets or not, but that's, we're not hearing about it. Certainly not in the news. Okay. And then that's a German high wing A400, which is an Airbus platform and looks to be headed into the UAE area. So, all right, let's head over here, see if we've got anything going on in the Pacific. And looks pretty quiet. Of course, it is still way early in the morning right now. So I think that's your international dateline. This is Hawaii. So there's a, right about here, there's an international dateline that takes place out here by Kwajalein, just near that. And then, so this is actually a totally different day over there right now. So, okay. That is all I've got for today. I can't think of anything else, but we'll continue to watch this stuff if we get any activity that looks like they're still looking for subs. That seems to have kind of subsided a little bit. I did see a few subs in the news surface up in Iceland where they broke the ice, and there was like 2 or 3 Russian subs up there that kind of surprised everybody in this general area, I think. So, okay, well, that's it. Listen, you guys be safe, and anything changes, I'll pop back on. That's all I've got. God bless. Monkey out.